In today's video, we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Now, if you haven't done so already, go and watch the videos I've already made on adding and subtracting normal fractions and also converting between mixed numbers and top-heavy fractions. Those will help you in this video. Now, you're going to be required to either add or subtract mixed numbers. So, for example, you might be required to add 1 2/3 plus 2 1/4. One way to do this is to convert these to top-heavy fractions. So I could make this 5/3 plus 9/4. And then from there you can look for your common denominator, which is 12. So I could times the left fraction by 4, giving me 20 over 12. And the right fraction by 3, giving me 27 over 12. And I can add them together, giving 47 over 12, or 3 and 11/12. Now, there is an easier way to do it though. If instead of converting these to top-heavy fractions, what we do is we consider the numbers and then the fractions separately. So I'm going to consider just the numbers. I've got the 1 and the 2. I have 1 here and 2 here. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then I'm going to consider just the fractions. 2/3 plus 1/4. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just the 2/3 and the quarter together, just like before. Still have a common denominator of 12. Notice it's the same as before. So I times the left fraction by 4 and the right fraction by 3, and that leaves 11/12. So my answer is 3 from the whole numbers and 11/12 from the fraction. 3 and 11/12. Notice that they are exactly the same, and you'd expect them to be because we have two different methods. However, the second method, considering the numbers and then the fractions, is much, much easier. Let's have another example. Let's do 2 and 1/5 plus 3 and 2/7. We'll do the numbers, so we'll do 2 plus 3, which is 5, and then we'll do 1/5 plus 2/7. Common denominator is obviously 35 because that's in the 5 and 7 times tables. So I'm going to times the left fraction by 7 and the right fraction by 5. When I add them together, I get 21 over 35. So my answer is 5 and 21/35. Now, the only time where you need to be slightly careful is when your fractions, the first fraction is smaller than the second fraction and you are subtracting. Let's have an example. Let's say we do 2 and 1/4 minus 1 and 1/3. 2 minus 1, we'll do the whole numbers first, it's just 1. And then 1/4 minus 1/3, we have common denominator of 12, so I times the left fraction by 3 and the right fraction by 4. 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So what I'm left with is 1 plus minus 1/12. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the 1 to be a fraction, and from there we can then subtract them. And the fraction you've got to choose is one that is sensible, i.e. is going to work with this number here. So I need a denominator of 12. So I've got to have 1 is something over 12. And obviously in this case it's just 12 over 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 12 over 12, that's my 1. Take away 1 over 12, and that gives me 11/12. Let's have one more example. Let's say I've got 5 and 1/7 minus 2 and 3/5. Well, 5 minus 2 is 3. That's easy. We'll do 1/7 minus 3/5. Common denominator 35, so times the left fraction by 5, right fraction by 7. Times the left fraction by 5, that gives me 5 over 35. And the right fraction by 7 will be 21 over 35. So when I subtract 5 from 21, I get 16, or minus 16, sorry. So minus 16 over 35. So my calculation is 3 take away 16 over 35. So again, I need to choose, or I need to make the 3 into a fraction that works. So I need to make it over 35. And to do that, I think, well, what's 3 times 35? Well, 3 times 30 is 90. 3 times 5 is 15. Add them together, 105. So I'm doing 105 minus 16 over 35, which would be 89 over 35. Converting this to a mixed number, I think, well, 35 times 2 is 70. So it's 2 remainder 19 over 35. And there you have it. That's how you add and subtract mixed numbers.